Welcome to the Creation to Cash Flow podcast. On this podcast, we discuss strategies to maximize your creativity and help you achieve financial freedom. Michelle, how is it going?
Nick, it's been amazing lately. Now that I'm in my new apartment, I'm finally getting in furniture from brand collaborations. I'm sitting in my dream chair at the moment. It's this beautiful boucle chair, and I'm just looking around at all these packages where it looks like I'm moving, but I know I'm not moving. I am getting new furniture that I actually want, and it's just so surreal. Like sitting here in a corner with floor to ceiling windows, looking at the furniture, doing this podcast. It's just making me get to this whole new level of gratitude. Because this weekend I stepped away from work for the first time in a long time. And I had time to just reflect on how far I've come. And I'm just very in awe and speechless and peaceful today and wanted to share that because I wasn't always in this position, but not giving up has brought me here. But how are you doing?
I love that. I love that so much. That's funny because last week we did not record for the first time in a little bit, even though we did still post, of course. We're a few weeks ahead for anyone who's listening. I kind of had a moment like that as well, where like a little epiphany almost, where I was like, we're really out here killing it with this podcast. I mean, we've gotten such great feedback from people. And I also just want to remind everyone listening to keep that feedback coming, good or bad. We can take it. We just want to make sure that we're catering this to things that you want to learn about,
Yeah.
right? Don't let us keep talking about topics that you don't have interest in. If there's something like if you want us to start talking a little bit more about current events or telling more stories about ourselves or hearing about my golf game, I would be happy to tell you. So you just have to let us know.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm having some of those moments of gratitude as well. The last few weeks have been like massive swings for me of like I'm riding so high and it all kind of comes crashing down, which is interesting. I'm usually like just so level always, so it's been interesting to feel. Today, we're going to talk about multiple streams of income, which is a super fun and important topic. I guess the first thing to really mention on this front is the fact that you don't want to have all of your eggs in one basket, which sounds so obvious and cliche, but it's true. When I was working my job as a civil engineer, like all of my eggs were in that basket. And if I decide I want to quit one day, I'm expected to give 2 weeks notice at the bare minimum. I ended up giving 4 because that's the kind of person I am. But still, when they want to get rid of me, there's no 2 to 4 week notice. If they're like, "Hey, sorry, we got to let you go today," like that's it. I'm done. So that's part of the reason why you don't want to have all of your eggs in one basket, and especially as an entrepreneur, because you can be in control of your sources of income. So you don't want to just have one.
Yeah. I remember when I first started doing a side gig when I had a full-time job and I was like, "Oh my gosh, 200 extra dollars? Like what could that get me in a year? Like that is so much money." I remember just being mind blown that my $30,000 salary per year now had 30,200 and I was like, "Oh, I could go to dinner a little bit more. Like I could buy this steak tonight." And it was just so mind-blowing to me that that was even an option, and now I've come so much further than that, but it's just like even when you have a full-time job, having a little bit of a side income, side gig is incredible, even just for like a family vacation.
You're very much hitting the nail on the head there. And that's kind of how it started for me, too. I was like, how can I take the skills and passions I already have and just like freelance this a little bit? Like, I wanted to do it as an engineer. I think I told this story, maybe I told this story once, so I'll keep it super brief. But like, I approached my boss at one point offering to help and tutor some of the other people that needed to take this really important qualifying exam that I had taken, which was so rare for someone of my age. So I was like, I want to help out and like get everyone else to pass this exam too. And they were like, no, they were like, that's not really in the budget. And I was like, okay, last time I try and go above and beyond for my job. And that's what got me. I was like, but I want to help people. I want to have a bigger impact on this world. And that was when I started coaching myself. Even though I didn't do it in the engineering, thank God. I'm glad they didn't let me do that, honestly, because then I might still be working there. but it's taking the skills and passions you already have and finding a way to freelance them is usually how it begins. And you make that extra $100 to do something, and you're like, I'm getting the guac at Chipotle this week. Like, let's go. We're living suddenly.
Yes.
Um, and then it snowballs. You catch the bug that is business building, and you're like, let's see where I could take this.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I remember when I used to be like, I can't afford the guac, but I really want it. Man, those days are so far behind me, but they're so real. And I'm so grateful I had those moments and that I'm also through it now. Get the guac, guys. It's worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, avocados are really good for you. We'll do next week's topic on avocados or something, but it's so true. Like, God, that first moment where you treat yourself a little bit. And I'm big on this. What I like to do, I like to really treat myself when I have like, when I reach some kind of new level or something, I will spoil myself. Like, I'll buy something nice for myself. Like, I've talked before about how when I first got my civil engineering job, I got myself a really expensive country club membership for a few months. And that gave me the bug of like networking with all of these like rich people. And I was like, you catch the bug. So it's really important to kind of treat yourself. But the way that it ties into your multiple streams of income is that if you have one that just covers your bills and your monthly expenses, and another for like treating yourself and investing in yourself and buying courses and knowledge and mentors and networking, like that is the perfect combination. So I want to kick it over to you, Michelle. I know you didn't prepare for this question, but can you explain like your different sources of income?
Oh man, I have a lot. I have a lot because I have a lot of knowledge in different ways I can help people, and I love to cater what the person needs to them and not just like have this distinct like this is what I do, this is the only thing I do. I'll start by saying I have every now and then people come to me that still need website design. It's a one-time thing. It's a few $1,000s. I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. So right now I'm literally building a website for a client that I met like 4 years ago because I built one for them 4 years ago. So I have that coming in. I do still manage a social media account for a little dance studio in Louisiana. So I have that coming in. I also do the like branding logo design every now and then. So that's like very sparse, but the thing is I have that skill and if I need extra income 1 month, then I can go pull from that. But I do on a consistent basis Amazon influencer program. So that's like an affiliate thing. I have a digital download, an online course. I have a few online courses. I also get paid by brands to create content, whether it's photos or videos. So they pay me for that asset that I'm delivering to them. User generated content I deliver. I have the TikTok creator, not the creator fund, but there's another thing where if you post over 1 minute, you get monetization for views. So I have that coming in. I have the TikTok shop for creators where I also get passive income from that. It's very similar to Amazon. I'm also a coach and a mentor. So I have coaching calls and I post on TikTok accounts for brand. I have like, I know that's very long, but there's so many ways to monetize your skills once you learn a skill. There's like endless amounts of ways that you can turn that into a monetization opportunity.
Yeah, I figured it was better not to prepare you for that, so you could just spill like the fact that like it's you don't have two or
No,
three. It's like it's a balance of all of these because when some of the, it's almost like being a smart investor in stocks or something. Like someone who's really good at investing in stocks would tell you that they don't have everything in tech. Like they have things between like tech and bonds and all sorts of different areas. I'm no financial advisor, but like I'll go through mine now. Honestly, I prepared a little better. I wrote them down because I was like, I don't even know how many I have, but I have eight significant sources of income for me. The first is from investments that I make through a financial advisor. The second is teaching yoga classes. The third is my business, Get Ahead with Nick, teaching people to build side hustles and make their first $2,500. The fourth, Brands Meet Creators, working as a coach there, helping people land brand deals and become influencers and checking all of those boxes. Sponsorships is a really good one. I guess you could also call that like UGC, like making content for brands, whether it's on my page or theirs. And then these three are a little less significant, but they still add up to a couple $100 a month: Amazon, YouTube, and crypto. I just have like a recurring $40 crypto investment every single week. And then every few months, I remember that it's doing that. And then I check and I'm like, that's a lot of money that I have right there. Crypto is kind of doing its thing. So overall, if I were to lose one of those streams of income, I wouldn't have to sweat so much as if I just got fired from my civil engineering job. I'm not going to be like, what do I do now? How do I make ends meet? I could just start putting, because it would free up my time a little bit if I lost one of these. I could just put that time into one of these other established streams of income. My tip for everyone, though, is not trying to build 8 streams of income at one time. You have to consistently move in one direction with one of them until it is a steady stream of income. Then work on what can you do to like automate that or outsource some of the work or free up a little bit more time, so now you can work on building another stream of income, or just keep building up your one if it is going to be safe and secure, right? Everyone's situation is going to be a little bit different.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you have issues with focusing, go to our very first episode, Shiny Object Syndrome. Listen to it because it'll help you with not jumping from opportunity to opportunity.
It's true, it is tricky to find that balance because maybe you have something going right now and you're like, I could use another stream of income, but this thing isn't really to the point where it should be yet. So that episode will really help you figure out like how to balance your time and energy. And I also urge you all to remember why you would want to go through all of this in the first place. Why do you want 8 streams of income? You better have a damn good reason. And for me, it's just so that I can like live the quality of life that I want, which is not like, sure, everyone wants like $1 million home and all of these amazing things, but for me it's not materials. It's like I just want the freedom to be able to spend time with my family. Like I want to be able to go for a walk with my mom on a Monday morning if that's what I want to do. I want to be able to hang out with my friends on a Tuesday night if that's what I want to do. Like I want to be able to take a yoga class at 12 p.m. on Thursday because that's when my favorite teacher, like, so just for me it's the freedom of controlling my schedule.
Yeah, I agree. Like that's my thing too is I want to live a peaceful life and do what I love doing, but I want to be able to still make money when I step away because I have COVID like I did last week, which is why we didn't record because and I'm still getting over it. Like my voice still isn't fully back, but I got COVID out of nowhere because I don't leave my house enough and I'm not exposed to all the bacteria. So everyone I was with was fine, but I'm the one that's like a homebody and I was like, I need to get out more. But it's like being able to not be stressed out when I get sick, being able to not stress out when I cut ends with a client. Like I just let go of a client that was over $2,000 a month. They were paying me, and I'm not stressed because I'm like, you know what? That's a closed door. Another one that's better is about to open. I'm sure it's coming. It'll present itself soon. And I'm literally at peace. I'm at peace whether I'm sick, whether I'm working. Like I feel so fulfilled and grateful and happy. And I think that nothing can buy my happiness, but I can control my happiness. And that to me is priceless.
Oof, that was powerful. That was really powerful. I love that. Um, Here's another thing for everyone to think about too, because I like to kind of work backwards a little bit to figure out like, what do I need and want my life to look like? And I will always look at myself at retirement age. And I will look and be like, what do I want to have accomplished by then? What do I need to accomplish those things? Like by the time I'm retired, like I want to own several properties. Like I want to own something in New Jersey, something in Puerto Rico, probably something in like the Carolinas. And that's just on the like the Eastern time zone, like, so I like to work backwards from where I want to be at a period of time and then start to think about like, what do I need to do now to make all of that happen? And that's definitely diversifying, having different ways to make money, some that are more passive than others. Everyone is enticed by passive income, but nothing is like completely passive. You have to understand that like there's always going to be some level of activity involved. Maybe it's all up front, right? Like when I make a YouTube video called How to Make an Ice Bath for Less Than $150, that video, like the ad revenue pays me like $5 a day, which is incredible. But just from the views it gets, but like that's not really a passive income source because it took me a long time to make that video and I had to pay an editor and like I had to record and buy all this stuff. So I just want everyone to know that your income source, like a lot of people get so tied up in like the idea of passive income and like shiny object syndrome, right? They hear someone else has a passive income source and then they give them all their money to learn. And it's like consistency is the way. There is not going to be a hack that you stumble across that now you have this amazing source of passive income. It is just going to take some consistent effort with each of these income sources to build it up to a point where now you have a little bit of time and freedom and money to build the next source.
Yeah, unless it's like an IRA, then you're just like basically paying to get that passive income whenever you retire. But you're right. Like, yes, Amazon is passive for me. Like, I don't have to post anymore on my storefront or my socials, and I will be getting money consistently for things that I'm still getting money today from something I posted onto Amazon years ago. So it's like that is kind of passive, but I could make more with it if I actually promoted it again or like made different types of videos with it. There's opportunities, but that is one of the things that I'm like, to me, that is the most passive because I do have online courses and downloads, but people don't know about them. So I'm going to have to market to get people to know about them to then get that income. So it's like, you're right. Nothing is truly passive unless it is like one of those retirement things.
Right, right. And your investments might be passive, but even the part that is active is like you need to earn some money from somewhere else then
Yep.
in order to make the investment. So it's like to some degree, I just want everyone to be super clear about the fact that you're not going to create multiple streams of income without having to do any work.
Yeah. Oh, no. I mean,
You are
that's
definitely
not real.
yeah, yeah, no, that's not real. And unfortunately, a lot of people think it is, and they get sold these dreams that aren't really true, or you make a terrible investment because it's promising like possible passive income, and it's like it's scary out there to build your multiple streams of income. The best way I can recommend to all of you is using skills and passions you already have. If you're passionate about something, like I've always been so passionate about helping people. Like I remember in middle school giving my other middle school friends, like they're asking me about like why their girlfriend is like, like just stupid stuff. But I've always loved giving advice to people and helping them, even though I might be going through the same situation myself. Like I feel like I've just always been able to like take a step back and give a wise piece of advice. So I started leaning into that, and I was like, what kind of like business or side hustle or stream of income would allow me to monetize that? So I became a social media life coach when I was 22, which sounds so stupid and ridiculous in a way, but like, look what's come of it. Like, my entire life, all of the parts that I'm really proud and excited about, like, started in that moment of like not knowing how I'm going to build that up to be a stream of income. And now, like, I've met so many amazing people that I get to hang out with and like do this, like this podcast. Like, if I never started trying to monetize my skills a few years ago, I certainly would not be sitting here recording this podcast with you. I would still be in my same cubicle at my civil engineering job, which I drove past yesterday. I had to get my truck tuned up a little bit, nice oil change, and get a screw pulled out from my tire. That was exciting. And I drove past and I saw all of the same cars of all of the same coworkers that I used to know, and like it gave me this really weird feeling of like, one, being so happy and proud and grateful to be where I'm at, but two, like feeling really bad for all of them. I felt terrible because I know the people there are not happy to be there, most of them anyway. And it just made me think about how grateful I am to have put myself out there and worked on building my own streams of income.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, my siblings are engineers and they love their job. Like they do love it, and I love that for them. We need people to love their jobs. Like we need that. But we also need people who aren't meant to be in that position to step out of their comfort zone and get after it and make a difference in their own way. Like it's so much more common to have a job than it is to be an entrepreneur, or it's more accepted and like it's more traditional. right? And we need people to have jobs. We need people to love their job. Like everybody needs to love what they do, though, not just the people that were lucky enough to have the calling on their life to work a job. No, some people are meant to be entrepreneurs and have their own business. And we're here to encourage you to step out and do that. If you have a like desire in your heart, there's a reason. My siblings don't have that desire, and I love that for them. I sometimes I'm like, you have it easier. You have it so much easier. But I did not feel that way, and it was difficult, but it's so fulfilling as well. So I just want to like make sure people know, because I do meet with a lot of people that are like, I have a full-time job and I love it, but I want a side gig. And I'm like, amazing. That's so great. Like that means it's going to be less pressure for you because you're not coming from a place of desperation.
Yeah, that's them like getting ready to build their multiple streams of income and that life they love. For me, that life I love just does not and never would include working for someone else. Like it just doesn't work that way for me. Like that would never make me feel happy. But if you do have something that makes you happy, but you don't quite have like the finances or the security you're after yet, maybe it is time to start that additional thing, start freelancing your skills, or maybe you just take a step back and look at things that you're good at that maybe you put aside and you haven't done them in a while. And maybe it's time to get back into that thing and see if that could become a stream of income or just something that you do that's fulfilling.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I think everybody needs multiple streams of income. I know a lot of people have, like, when they have jobs, they have retirement that they're putting in, 401k things, like different things that they have, life insurance, all that stuff. And that's great. That is something that entrepreneurs or business owners have to do separately. It's not like provided by the employer, like we're the employer. So we had to figure all that out. But it's more than that. It's like you can get things today, now. You can get some pretty quick income coming in if you just learn how to do that, which is what we're here for.
Yeah, it's true. So that's a great time for me to again remind everyone that like you can always reach out to us, even if it's not just with like a recommendation for what to talk about in this podcast. Like you could also always reach out to us to just ask a question. I answer like every DM and email that I get eventually.
I don't, so message Nick because I'm really bad at
Okay,
even checking mine.
message me then. I always get to all of them, and you'll find that I usually send a pretty long response, even if you don't even respond back. Like I just love what I do, and I love my life, and I love helping people, and I want everyone to feel that same level of love for their life. And for me, like having multiple streams of income allowed me to get to that point and feel that like they don't all have to make you $1 million. Like I'd probably make $200 a month teaching yoga classes, but it's like it's such a nice and fulfilling thing for me. And it covers half of my car payment almost. So like just little things like that to know that like if one of my income streams dies, like at least I've got most of my car payment covered just by doing something that I love, which is teaching yoga to people. Like I would do it for free. I go take yoga classes and pay money. I just want everyone to know what that feels like. Maybe that's in combination with your job, or maybe it's escaping your job.
Yeah, and I know this is kind of off topic, but I feel like it's worth bringing up. So, not even just like for money, but there's amazing barter opportunities out there. Like, I have a mobile massage therapist who comes to my apartment every Thursday because it's my weekend on Thursdays. And she comes here and gives me like a 2-hour long massage, and in exchange for that, I help her get social media content made. And I'm like, sure, she's not paying me, but I'm not paying her, but I'm getting this thing that is essential for my physical, mental health and overall wellness. And it's like I'm adding value to her because she doesn't have a lot of extra money to spend right now. She's an entrepreneur. She's adding a ton of value to me, and it's like even that to me is worth having as an additional, not income stream, but just like an additional thing in your life that you can use as a benefit to you. There's just like so many things, even if it's not you're getting paid for the vacation, but you're getting a free vacation. Cool, make content for that vacation rental place. Like there's other ways to even think outside the box and get more value added to your life, even if it's not through money.
I'm really happy you mentioned that. That's such an important thing that your stream of income might not be financial. It might be a stream of it's for health. I don't want to say health income. That doesn't sound like proper English, but your stream of how can that be phrased, Michelle? Help me out here.
Well, what does income mean to you? What is it besides money? What is it in definition?
Yeah, I guess it really could just be like a source of fulfillment. So,
It's a tool to make your life better.
yeah, it regardless of the English behind it, I'm sure everyone's kind of getting the gist. Like even where I teach yoga classes, like I could take classes there for free now because I teach on Sundays. I teach one class per week, but now it used to be like $100 a month for my membership there. And now instead I make $200 per month and I get to take yoga classes and teach them. It's not that crazy of a recipe. That's a great place to start. If you love playing golf, go get really good at golf, get some lessons from someone, find out how you could start teaching other people to play golf. Now suddenly you're getting paid to do something you love. Even if you don't quit your job to do that, it's this fulfilling thing you're doing now that makes you feel fulfilled internally, but also is helping create those other sources of financial income.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just think of it as black and white. Like, I want a vacation, but I don't have the money, so I'm not going. Instead of thinking, like, I want a vacation, how can I make that happen? What are the different things that I can do for them instead of just providing the money that will then in turn allow me to get that opportunity? Like, there's so many different ways to get what you want, but a lot of people just think that it's money in exchange, but it's not always the case. I try to get as much that I can, as many things I can, without having to actually get money out of my pocket. But what I'm providing is more valuable or just as valuable. And I just think that that's another stream of income.
And if you're listening to this and you're wondering and you're like, but I don't have any kind of skill like that to monetize to get a free stay at a hotel or something, that just means it's time to upgrade your skills. There is knowledge and people that want to help everywhere. Like I said, reach out to me or go buy a book or spend some time on YouTube. Just break the chains of your phone that or whatever distraction that eats up all of your time. Do something to upgrade your skill level that is going to allow you to do so many more cool things with your life, like stay in a hotel for free, get paid to teach a yoga class, whatever the thing is. If you feel like you don't have the skills for it, just work on developing the skills. A little bit of time each day is more than enough.
Yeah, like I have a very inexpensive, like $49 Amazon course that teaches you exactly what to do. It's very quick and to the point. It's available, it's there. It's less than $100. Like you can go get it right now and start learning. And me and Nick will drop down some resources too in the podcast description of if there's a specific thing. Like we both have different skills and different assets that you can learn through or different assets available for you to learn.
There's so many. Yeah, I always have links at the bottom of this podcast to all of me and Michelle's resources. You could learn how to become an Amazon influencer from Michelle. I have a list of 100 passive income producing side hustles for you. Even though, again, they're not all completely passive because that's not a real thing, but income sources that you could create that will just really kick your life up a notch. And you can go through and find all of these for free. And that's just from us too. There's a lot of other people out in this world that have really good knowledge to share on all of these topics. But if all you do is distract yourself in your free time because you're down on the fact that you don't have these multiple streams of income, work on upgrading yourself, your skills, your health, your mindset. And then suddenly you'll look back and be like, oh my God, everything in my life fell into place.
Yeah, it's true. Always be learning and growing. We've said it a lot, but if you're not growing, you're decaying. And we're meant to thrive and grow in life. So earlier, Nick, you mentioned it's not easy, like it takes work. And I think one of the most common misconceptions about, let's use my current living situation. I'm getting a ton of furniture sent to me from brands to furnish my new apartment. What people think that looks like is I'm just getting a bunch of free stuff, which is not true at all. I am working my butt off to create the most excellent content for these brands, which they pay creators to do. Majority of these are not paid collaborations. They were gifted to me in order for me to then create and help them promote their product. That's the value I'm adding to them. Um, Obviously, if these brands are sold on Amazon, then I have an opportunity for some income, but I'm not expecting it. So instead of me paying a $2,500 couch brand, they're sending that to me. So I'm going to give them $2,500 worth of content. Instead of me taking that cash out of my bank, I am doing it with my skill set instead. So it looks really nice and glamorous, like, oh, Michelle's getting all this free stuff sent to her. But in reality, I'm working really freaking hard. And it's not that it's just this free stuff. Yes, I'm not exchanging my dollar for it, but I'm exchanging a lot of my time, my energy, my effort, and exposing them to my social media audience. And to me, I think that's where there's a huge disconnect. People think that it's just this like super easy, not time consuming thing, but that's not true. But if you do want to not get your money out of your pocket and pay for these things, it's possible.
I'm so happy you mentioned that. Yeah, it's just like the glamour of social media makes everyone think that like that's just completely passive for you. Like, oh, you got all new furniture for your apartment, and brands are like, here you go. We don't need anything in exchange for that. Like, it's almost never what it appears to be on the outside. There's activity involved for sure in all of these sources of income. So that's just something really important that you mentioned. Now I want to kind of roll into financial stability versus instability. Just like a little test I like to do to kind of see like, am I at a place where I'm financially stable right now, or am I feeling a little bit unstable? And the way I like to do this is knowing like my two monthly amounts of revenue that I need in order to like check my boxes. The first one is like, what do I need to make every month to live good? To live the life I want, to be able to get the guac at Chipotle, to be able to go play golf with my friends and go have a drink with my girlfriend, whatever I want to do. And for me, that number, I try to keep everything as low as I can. That number is like $5,500 for the month. Like that for me is like I'm living good. I'm checking all the boxes. If I'm hitting that, I've reached financial stability. The other number I like to know is how much do I need to make each month to not die? This is a great one. You should always know what is your bare minimum amount that will sustain your life, where you still get to live in the house and you're not living under a bridge and robbing old ladies for soup cans. And for me, that number is a little over $3,000. Let's call it 3,500 because the exact number doesn't matter. The purpose is that you know those two numbers so you have something to shoot for. Sometimes people have their head in the clouds and they'll send me a DM and they're like, I want to be making 100,000 a month. And I'm like, that's great. I love that. And I promise that is possible for you, but you need to start way smaller than that. You're not going to start something that like whatever it is you're building first needs to make you $100 a month and then 1,000 and then 2,500. And you need to walk before you can fly at 100 miles an hour, So I like knowing those two numbers. You don't have to get crazy and like hire an accountant to do all these crazy budgeting things. Just look at your last 3 months worth of bank statements. Be like, what do I need to for rent, for food, for my car, and to be able to have a little bit of fun. And then find another that's like, what do I need to literally just barely make ends meet?
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think the episode we released this week, June 27th, was about touching on that too, but it's very true. And don't go crazy and buy like a new fancy car or get a super expensive apartment without having at least like 6 months of those expenses stored away. That's what we do. Like I know my minimum is 10 grand, which I'm like that. I mean, my rent is basically 10 grand. So I'm like, we have to have that coming in at least. But I know what I have in savings too. So I'm like, if there's a bad month, I'm okay. And it just again relieves that desperation emotion from me. And I can then just focus on really listening to my mind and my body and my intuition of like, what do I need to do next? Is this a good opportunity? Is this a good partnership? Instead of like burning myself into the ground.
Yep, it's so important to just know these things about yourself. Like a lot of people run from these things and they're just like they just prefer not to look. They don't want to know like the analytics of their life. But when you know these things, like what I didn't invent this saying, but what gets measured gets managed. And I love it. I measure everything. Like I'm always on the scale. Like every day, like I want to know what I weigh, so I know like the way my weight is trending. I know people that check their bank account every single morning. That's a really good one, especially if you're finding that you're not making as much money as you want to be. Check your bank account first thing in the morning when you wake up instead of Twitter, and you will start to just train your brain to do more activities that are going to produce income, right? Do more input that's going to actually have an output, because scrolling on Twitter probably won't for you. So those are some tricks that other people I know use, and some of their sayings. But Michelle, do you have anything else you want to add on any of these topics?
I love that. What gets measured gets managed. That is powerful. It's almost like reflecting. Like what you are able to ponder on and reflect on will then help you make better decisions. I'm personally the worst at looking at my bank or my literally. I had a meeting with our CPA last week and I was like, he was like, you made $22,000 last month. And I was like, what? I thought I made like five. Like, where is this coming from? Like, I literally don't know. But I feel like it does help me not stress about it because I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But when you say that, I'm like, maybe I should focus more on that and really try it. I should try that. So I'm going to do that. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I mean, I check all of these things like so closely. Like at the end of every month, I'll look and I'll be like, all right, like what did we make? What did we lose? What did we spend? Like I will look very closely at all of these things. And I think that's also be careful, because that's also part of the fact that why I never buy anything for myself. Like I rarely buy myself like little gifts and things, unless, like I said, when I hit some kind of milestone or massive source of income, I'll like really treat myself. But like that's just how I like to do it. So if you're listening to this, there are two sides to this coin, right? Like you could kind of live as Michelle does or live as I do, but if whatever you're currently doing is not working, it's probably time to try something else.
That's so true. And I don't buy things for myself either, but that's because I don't think I have money coming in. So I'm not going to go buy anything if I have to actually spend my own money. And so that's just really funny because maybe that's a good trending thing you and I both have where we're like, we don't just go buy these random little things all the time.
When I was in Puerto Rico, I bought myself 3 shirts in some random store. It was three for $15. And I was like, whew, I'm really treating myself because I just have everything I need. I don't need materials to make me happy because I'm just so happy with my life and my day to day, which is an extremely good feeling. Most people, like, they're shopaholics because it gives them some sort of joy, but it's like, what if instead you built a life that you enjoyed and you don't have to buy so much stuff you don't need, and now you have the money to travel, and like that's where the mindset shift really starts to snowball.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I do buy things for my home, but I'm surrounded by my home every day. And I feel like that needs to be a positive environment. So I do buy things for the house, but I don't buy a lot of things. I buy what I need and then I donate everything else I don't to somebody that needs it. And then I move on.
And also part of what you do is like you have to create this nice aesthetic space, because every corner of your house ends up on the internet at some point. So it's like they're investments.
They are.
Like when you're decorating it, it is an investment, and you know that, and you reutilize funds that you've earned from your investments to buy more investments, and it's like that's a good recipe right there.
Yeah, it's not like I'm buying Chanel purses to try to like impress somebody. I don't do all that. Like, don't get me wrong. I would love that. They're nice, but that's not my priority at the moment. So you're right. Anything I do purchase is an investment for my mental health or my aesthetics because I have to make things aesthetically pleasing.
Yep, it's true. I definitely know a little bit about that. Do you have anything else you want to add, Michelle?
No, I'm excited.
I'm excited too. I'm always excited after we record these and before, honestly. It's just so exciting. So, if you're listening to this and you enjoyed it, tell us. Tell us why you got so excited. Drop a review, drop a comment. Pretty soon, we're going to start getting all of these videos on YouTube for you guys to watch as well. If you prefer to watch, you could watch us squirm rather than just listen. So, anyway, if you are looking for more ways to monetize your creativity and find more freedom in your life, subscribe. Absolutely subscribe to us so you do not miss the next episode. We drop them every Tuesday. You could find me on Instagram and TikTok at Get Ahead with Nick. I will always answer you if you reach out to me, even if it takes me a little bit of time. So feel free to send me podcast ideas, guest ideas, ask me a question, download my list of side hustles if this podcast inspired you. And you can find Michelle on Instagram and TikTok at MichelleJH. Michelle with two L's, then four E's, JH. She has so many amazing resources too. So make sure you check out all of our links below. I love you all. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next week.